notifications going off.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our interview today. I have a guest with us, Gloria Clay, and it's exciting at times to really sit down with individuals who are very focused on driving not only awareness of information in their community, but creating access. As many of us have become vegan, as many of us have explored our own personal vegan journeys, a lot of us have picked up the mantle and decided to help others on this journey as well. And as we've all been challenged this last year through the pandemic and just all the changes in our states, it's been so important that we keep that message out there, that we've been pivoting, changing, and really kind of finding our way through, this pandemic and ensuring that we're still supporting our communities and helping individuals not only kind of understand the benefits of a vegan and plant-based diet and lifestyle, but how it can work for our community, how these things can really benefit our community, and having some of those deeper discussions, I think, is always fun. And I'm excited to have our guest today to share her journey and also share her experience over the last year or so and how she's been supporting the community. So, Gloria, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Stephanie, for allowing me to be on here with you today.
So, before we jump into all the details and everything you're doing, maybe let's give everyone a little bit of background, a little bit of insight into who Gloria is and why you started or decided to become a blogger and then obviously ultimately do classes and help the community. But give me a little bit of that backstory. Like, what was the thing that lit the flame?
Well, it started one day when I got on the scale and weighed a whopping 232 pounds. And, my diet 6 years ago consisted of, the fried foods, the rice, everything you could possibly think of. I mean, the sweets, the cakes, all of that. I incorporated that into my body. And I went to the doctor's appointment one day and I was diagnosed with hypertension. And my doctor told me, he was like, Mrs. Clay, if you want to get off the blood pressure medicine in the future, you need to change your eating habit. You need to exercise. You need to be more out instead of sitting down. Because, we sit down all the time, and I wasn't exercising. I wasn't eating right. I didn't think I could care less. But when I got on that scale and weighed 230 pounds, and I've never weighed that when I was pregnant with my kids. So I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna have to do something. But I was never a big meat eater. That's the thing. I
Okay.
was never a big
Mhm.
meat eater, but I like fried fish. I love to fry shrimp. So that would be my lunch, my dinner, 5 times a week. That's what I
Oh,
ate.
wow.
And then
Mhm.
you add the baked mac and cheese, the collard greens, the fried okra, the red velvet cake. That's good eating.
It
But
would. Mhm.
that's the good stuff, and that's the stuff that we grew up on. That's soul
Yes,
food.
I was going to say that. That's the food we grew up on. And I think that's always like the challenge when you make this transition is because some of this food is in our culture. Like it almost feels like it's in, what I mean? It's in like our DNA, it feels like at times, because that's what you almost
Right,
expected on the table. That was how you showed love is by making these dishes, you know what I mean?
yeah,
And so forth.
right.
So,
Through food. That's how we connected, through food, through
mhm.
soul food. So make a long story short, I went vegan overnight, cold turkey. I was like, okay, I can do this. I'm not a big meat eater, so just let me quit cold turkey, and I did. But then I'm like, okay, Gloria, you went vegan, so what are you gonna eat? So
Yeah.
what I did, I researched. I did a lot of researching. I did a lot of Google search, a lot of vegan chefs, people who are vegan, all kind of stuff like that, as far as recipes and stuff to help me along my way.
Mhm.
So I was just like, okay, now if I could swap out a dairy butter for a plant-based butter, okay, I can see where I'm going with this. If I could swap out a dairy cheese for a plant-based cheese, I can do this. And that's how it came about. I started swapping out regular milk, regular cheese, regular butter for the plant-based stuff. And I taught myself how to cook vegan. Everything I do now has been vegan. I've had trial and errors with like certain stuff, like with certain cheeses didn't taste right
Mhm.
when I'm mac and cheese and all that kind of stuff like that. But I narrowed it down and I find that if you could just research and just swap out what's good for your taste bud, you can do it.
Yeah. And I love that you say that about your taste buds because I think sometimes we're not all built the same. We all don't, certain sours and sweets and, certain
Right.
flavors hit our tongues differently. And I always try to tell people that you want to veganize things, but you also want to complement your flavor profiles, like the things that you really
Right.
like. If you like it spicy, if you like it a little bit this and that.
Right. Right. So that's how
So
that came about.
So when you got started, okay, you went vegan. What made you say, I want to be a blogger now? Like, I want to get this information out. What was that transition like?
Well, it started with a few Facebook posts. I did some collard greens one day, and I switched out the regular, fat for the vegan bacon, or and you add like your little I was using like garlic salt and just real seasoning to season it, and everything started tasting good. So I would post pictures of my food, and
Hmm.
people were like, okay, you eating this, but does it still taste like that? Do it still taste like the traditional collard greens? Do it still taste
Hmm.
like the cornbread? How do you make a cake without using eggs or milk? It came to be that type of thing. I'm like, okay, people are interested in this, so let me, take a little bit step further. So, in 2017, I said, okay, I'm gonna enter a vegan mac and cheese contest. I said, I'm just gonna try it out, get people, to come, just spread the word. That was always my thing, to let people know that you can enjoy your favorite comfort food without, adding the milk, the butter, the
Hmm.
eggs, the cheese to your mac and cheese. And that was my thing. So I entered my mac and cheese into the contest, and I won. And I won
I love it.
overall. Like, okay, Gloria, you got it. You can do this. So that made me start blogging, so to speak. Okay, people are
Hmm.
interested in recipes. People are interested, where you shop at. People are interested, how do you swap such and such for such and such. So it kind of took off from there. It kind
Okay.
of took off from winning that competition to people actually seeing like, okay, she made a dish that won something. So if
Yes.
she can, maybe I need to follow her recipe, and maybe my mac and cheese would taste the same. And I've had so many people come back and tell me that they could not tell the difference. They could not tell the difference
Wow.
in the vegan mac or the traditional mac and cheese. So that's what kind
Now,
of,
I'm going to have to ask you for the recipe at the end of this.
of course,
If you share it. I don't know if you do.
that's all,
You may be
that's
locked
all
up.
but yeah, and me, I'm a giver, I'm a helper, and I like to feed people. That ever since I've been a little child, I've always liked to feed, and I can't stand I can't stand for no one to be hungry. And even
Mhm.
like with the stuff I'm doing now, I've had cooked meals for my coworkers, vegan, I mean full meals and desserts, meats, the vegan meats, the sides, the whole 9 yards, to get the word out, that
Yeah.
you can eat good. You can eat good vegan meals without having to sacrifice, putting a dead animal on your plate, or using milk. And now, don't get me wrong, I'm not an animal vegan. That is not me. You choose, to eat what you want to eat. And me per se, vegan was the way for me to lose the weight. I dropped 65 pounds, and probably
Oh,
could
wow.
do a more, drop a lot more. But I like to eat potato chips and popcorn and stuff like that. That's not all that good, but hey, a little, little once in a while, it doesn't hurt. But
And you have to
I'm
find your own way. You know what I mean? Like, I think sometimes, I mean, and like, I want everyone to be vegan. I want everyone to, be there for animal rights. I want everyone to
right,
go vegan for the environment. Like, I want it all. But I
right,
definitely understand that that's not everyone's journey. And I think it's so important at times that we understand that, and that not everyone wants to be an extreme health food vegan, and we
right,
want to snack at times. So I think there's place in the movement, and I think it's so important that people know that there's place for that, that it's not a purist movement, that if you don't check off
right,
all the
right,
boxes, you're not
right.
welcome.
Right. And even, I've, started doing things for my husband's job, making dinners for them. And he worked
Mm,
predominantly with a lot of males. And, males, they have this stigma that, you know, real men eat meat, that kind of thing. That's the stigma they
hmm.
have. But
Yeah.
I have made so many dishes for my husband's job, and I always get requested for my vegan cheesecake, my vegan cauliflower bites, and I do a dirty rice as well. So the men like that. My husband like that. He's not vegan, and I'm not pushing. I'm not pushing that. Everybody has to find their way. To each his own. That's what you want to do. That's on you. I'm not judgmental. I it is what it is. You do what's right for you, and I do what's right for me. So by me dropping, the meat and exercising and doing what I'm supposed to do, I came off my blood pressure medicines. I see a little bit better about certain things, especially as far as like I have three grandkids, and I want
Hmm.
them to have a better place in the world to live. You know what I'm saying? Like for like
Yeah. Hmm.
sustainability, eco-friendly, all kinds of stuff
Absolutely.
like that. I'm a big believer, especially in sustainability. I believe in recycling, reusing, and repurposing. And if I could do my part and help save Mother Earth, so my grandkids can have a place, a
Yes.
future. They can have a beautiful earth to live on, So it's I think it
Hmm.
starts within us. We all got to do a little bit, to help Mother Earth, because I believe in Mother Earth. That's our home.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I definitely believe that it's our role. And, we as individuals can control a lot of those outcomes. We don't have to wait
Right,
for somebody else to do it. We can actually
right,
do it. So let's
right.
talk about how you've been transitioning, how you've been pivoting, how you've been helping your community, and how you've been kind of doing these online cooking classes, using Zoom to help reach people and help people through the pandemic.
Okay. Before COVID came, last year, April, I was supposed to have did a pop up. My thing was to just do pop ups, local pop ups, pop up, in Charleston, South Carolina, a little pop up in Georgia. That was my goal. But then
Hmm.
COVID came in, and I'm just like, okay, what I'm gonna do. I don't spend all this money on all kinds of supplies, napkins, cutlery, dishes. I mean, everything to help me do the pop up. And my husband said, he
Hmm.
said, Gloria, say, well, what do you think about just selling dinners? I'm like, I don't know if I want to sell dinners, because first of all, it's only me. I'm doing the
Hmm.
cooking. I
Yeah.
would have to do the prepare every dish that I have to make. And so I said, well, okay, I tried just to give a thing to see how the outcome come.
Yeah.
So I put on Facebook. I gave some flyers to my job, and my husband did some flyers for his job, and it went crazy. I had to, yeah, it went crazy because I had to literally like stop taking orders, because I'm like, I'm only one person. I appreciate the love, but I can't do it all by myself.
Yeah.
So, but I'm trying to work at the hospital. I'm trying to do this kind of stuff on the side, which I was going to try to do it every week. But I said, just let me try to do it once a month and see how it goes. The first month,
Hmm.
it was overwhelming, of course, because, like I said, I'm doing this by myself. But the community showed up and showed out.
Oh,
What I loved about it, I'm like, okay, if I can do this month, let me try the next month. So September came around, I did another one, and people would
okay.
request my cauliflower bites. So of course I had like 50 head of cauliflower that I had to cut up. I mean, but it was worth it. It was worth it because people enjoy that kind of stuff. Even I've gotten people will direct me and say, Miss Gloria, I don't have the money. Can I still? Yeah, come get a plate. I don't care. To me, it's more like an education thing, and I educate through cooking.
Got
That's
it.
how I outreach. I outreach through cooking. That is my
Okay.
thing. And so, that went past. And then I got a call from the University of South Carolina here, and I was going to their building we're going to their place to do cooking demos. But then, like I said, COVID
Nice.
hit, started doing Zoom. I
Hmm.
did a Zoom with them. And then October came, and I'm just like, okay, let me see, can I do another dinner? So I
Hmm.
put it out, and I called it Holla Vegan. Halloween dinner for Halloween. So I did it on
Yes.
Halloween Day. It was a success. It had to the point where people was asking me, could they place like 5 and 10 more orders to the orders they already had? Yes, it was really that serious. But I'm like, and people
Wow.
understood that it was just me in the
Hmm.
kitchen, and I'm
Yeah.
very anal in the kitchen. Nobody cannot come in my kitchen when I'm cooking. My husband is not
Okay.
allowed, nobody, because I have to stay focused. You know what I'm saying? I just have to stay
Mhm.
focused. That's my time.
Nothing wrong with having some rules.
Yeah, and he'll tell you, I'm very anal when it comes down to stuff like that. I'm not a perfectionist, so to speak, but if somebody has an order, say for instance, somebody ordered a cake for me, and it's like a little teeny tiny half an inch scratch on it, I cannot send that box out the house because it's a representation of me and my work. I'm a home cook, and I enjoy doing that. I enjoy cooking. I enjoy people coming back and asking me and telling me, Mrs. Clay, I've never had such and such before, and that was great. You could not tell me that was not vegan, or vegan this and vegan that. So people really enjoy my cooking, and I get a thrill out of that all its own. It don't have to be, you give me money. As long as I know that you are enjoying it, I am happy. I think I have done my job.
I love that. And I think it's so important that, I'm always advocating for people to run a business. I'm always advocating for people to find a way that they can bring their career in, but it's not everyone's calling. And I know
Right.
you work full time. So the
Yeah.
idea is, that is your career. And the idea is that this is a way for you to give back. And I love it when we all have that opportunity to give back. Even if someone was running their own business, I'm always about trying to make sure you have a place and just time
Right.
set
Right.
aside to give back to the community, because for most of us, the reasons we're here today, the reason we've been successful in our lives and in the world, is because the community gave to us. So it's just
Amen.
natural to give back. So
Right.
I'm really, really excited to hear that from you. One thing I just want to clarify. So you were going to do pop-ups, and then what you're now doing is kind of like pop-up dinners, but like the virtual version of it. Is that the right
Right.
way to describe it? Okay. All right.
Right. Like I
Okay.
said, during this, back during, after COVID hit, like in August, I started doing the meals from home, and people
Hmm.
would just drive up. I would give them their bag. We take pictures, and it was just like, it was a community effort. You know what I'm saying? I got,
Hmm.
signed a few little autographs. It was just like, I'm like, okay, who am I? I'm just a home cook. But I do it from the kindness of my heart. You don't have to pay me. I do it from the kindness of my heart. And people will come, like I said before, and say, Miss Gloria, I don't have the money this time. Can I still get something to eat? Of course. Of course, you can still get something to eat. I mean, I'm not that person. I don't do this for a living. I have a full-time job. But I make my money, of course. But I get my happiness from somebody wanting to try it. Somebody coming to me like, Miss Gloria, I don't have it this time. Can I get a plate? Of course, I give you 2 plates. What about that? And I have done that. I have
Yeah.
done it because I don't want people to be turned away for not having, money. I want people to still enjoy vegan food without if you don't have the money, that's okay. People have given to me. People have helped me up the ladder. So
Yes.
I don't I'm never going to turn anybody away. And my thing is, if I was to open up something like that, I want my food to be affordable for everybody. No matter your
Yes.
race,
It's important.
creed, what side of town you stay on. That always been my thing. I will feed you. I will feed you, and that's what I've done throughout the community. I mean, I've donated, food. I've given, back. And it does my heart good. I don't need a slap on the back because I know I'm genuinely doing it from my heart. So it just heartwarming, that people actually,
Absolutely.
want to come and eat my food, or even though I'm cooking out my kitchen, my
Mhm.
kitchen in my house, back there. People come, they still come for that, and they are asking me now, when will I be back doing that again? And I don't know, because I have a few partnerships that I'm doing with companies, so that's taking up a lot of my time. And like I said, I still work, So it just, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe, sometime later on down in the year, but it all depends on what the universe have for me.
That's true. And sometimes you have to let things kind of percolate and develop. You know what I mean? Sometimes you have to see what happens. Because I loved that you mentioned, did you say the University of South Carolina that you said reached out to you? Is that what you said?
I've
Which
been
school?
I've been doing West South Carolina demos for like 3 or 4 years. I would go to their um class and do cooking demos for them every twice a
Yeah.
year. Yep,
Yeah. And
yep.
see, I love that because I don't know how completely how that opportunity came about, but I know for many of us, these opportunities kind of pop up and they're beyond what we initially thought might happen. So that's why I love the way you're kind of doing things is a little organic right now. Like, I'm going to do some pop ups, I'm going to work on these agreements, I'm also going to give back to the community. And you're
Right,
kind of feeling things out. Maybe when I talk to you 2 years
right.
from now, you'll be like, Stephanie, we feed over X amount of people a year now. So you never know where things will be,
Yeah,
when you start and you allow things to organically grow.
right. And I try to stay true to myself. And I have a sister. I have two sisters actually, but my sister that she probably watching now, I don't know. But she always tell me about how I'm always nervous when I'm getting ready to talk because she knows I'm an introvert. And she like, just be yourself. It's okay. And I have a thick Southern accent, and people can't hardly understand what I'm saying at time either. And she's like, and that's okay. Just take your time, deep breath, and just go through it. And she has been like a major supporter for me. Her and I got some close work friends, and definitely I cannot leave out my husband. He has been my delivery guy, my stop guy.
It's so wonderful when you have that support system. It's so important.
Yeah, you have to have that. You have to have that. Even when he knows I got a big dinner I'm getting ready to do for people, he's like, "Okay, Gloria, I know you have this to do, so I'm just gonna stay out your way," and it works. You know what I'm saying? It totally works. But my community, especially my work family, my work family has been there from day one through every award that I've ever competition I have ever won. Just a great group of people. So I owe them a thank you too. So
Oh, I'm so glad you gave them a shout out and talked about it because I do think it's so important when we're doing these things, when we're helping out. It's great to have people in our corner. And also, I'm glad you mentioned the idea of being an introvert because I think for a lot of people, they may be watching this and they may be thinking, like, I want to do that, but I don't know if I can do
right,
that. I don't know if that's my personality. And I think it's so important that people understand that there's room for all of us and there's room for us to just be ourselves. Like you mentioned the idea that you have a, Southern accent. All of
right,
us really have accents at the end of the day.
right,
I start talking
right,
a certain way after a while, you'll realize like she's definitely from Philly. Because, I'll use words like water, water has like a D in it in Philly
right,
as opposed to a T. So I think we all have those things. And it's nice that we should be able to show up and just be ourselves. We don't have to fit into a box and sound this way and look this way. The idea is that the world needs us, the communities need us. And I
right,
love it when we all, find our voice and find our
right,
way to help. So if anybody out there is watching today and they're a little bit nervous, please use Gloria as your inspiration to know that you can do it, even if you're an introvert, even if you want to do it a little bit. I love that you're doing pop ups every now and then. You're not trying to do it all and burn yourself out, which I think is
no,
so
no,
smart. So I'm so glad we had a chance to talk today because I think a lot of people need to hear that and need to hear that there's multiple ways that they can help their community, they can give back, and they can do it and be themselves.
right, right, right. And everybody, and I just want to say this, if you're thinking about going vegan, I mean, just redo your research. Do your research. Take your time. I mean, so what? You've been vegan for 2 weeks and you ate a piece of chicken. So what? Who cares? I mean, come on. Life is too short. Don't beat yourself up about it because you did that. And that's what I think. A lot of people focuses on. They like, okay, I tried it for a month. Okay, that's great. But I went back and I ate meat. Okay, and you're human. Don't beat yourself up because you had a slip up. Like I said, life is too short. Life is, fragile. So just take it one day at a time. And like a lot of people like, Miss Gloria, you went vegan overnight, but that was my choice, and that's what worked for
Yes.
me. That's what worked because I I was scared. Let me just say it like that. I was scared. I was scared
Mm,
because I had to take blood pressure medicines. I was scared because I worked on a stroke unit. I
mhm.
worked on the stroke unit. I see obesity and all of that kind of stuff. So I was kind of, scared. So I had that extra nudge. I said, well, and I'm the type of person, if I put my mind to it, I'm gonna do it. If I know that it's gonna help me and I want to be around to see my grandkids grow,
Yeah,
I want to be my great nephews I have, I want to see them grow, so
yeah,
you just take your time and just and life is precious. Life is just too precious, to be,
yeah,
hung up because you slid back. Who gives a crap, And
yeah.
I get teary when I say this because I see sickness. I have a lot of sickness in my family. I have a lot of sickness, and I have my sister has never, drank, has never smoked, and she has two forms of cancer she's fighting.
Mm,
So and we've been doing the vegan thing, so and she's up on it. She's
mhm.
down with it. So
Oh, good.
I just sometimes I just think about how precious life is at times. To beat
Absolutely.
yourself up because you have to slip up. That just you know I've been stopped that. I slipped up. Oh what life goes on.
Absolutely. And I think we have to, like you said, we have to give ourselves space and time to get there. We have to give ourselves the
Right.
ability to kind of get on this journey and not be perfect on the journey, especially in the beginning
Right.
stages. Because for some of
Right.
us, we've been eating this way for years. Some of it's been 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50, you've been eating a certain way for a long time. It does take time to transition. And I really
Mm-hmm.
think we have to be advocates for ourselves and not beat ourselves
Right.
up in the process.
Right.
Now, I'm not
Right.
necessarily advocating for like yo-yoing all over the place for like 5 years, but I
Right.
definitely
Right.
believe that we're not here to judge ourselves and berate ourselves. I think it's so important, really, with any journey that we're on, that we have to build ourselves up. We have to research, we have to get there. And then with,
Mm-hmm.
a blog like yours, it can be inspiration for people who are struggling and trying to figure out a way to maybe transition some dishes. They can learn from you and make something in their
Right.
own home and kind of have that, celebration happy dance when they're like, all
Right.
right, this tastes good.
Right. Right.
I just wanted to pop one message
Only,
up on the screen.
only,
Someone said this is so beautiful, making food available and affordable to all people. I just think that's so important, and I'm so glad. Tenby, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but thank you so much for joining us and posting that message there. So, Gloria, as we wrap up today's session, I always love to give everyone just an opportunity for any final words. Our audience is filled with people who run businesses, organizations, trying to drive change, but we also have people who are transitioning to a vegan diet, who have, been making this, who are on this journey and maybe listening to this as a little bit of inspiration. So, I don't know if you
right.
have any words of wisdom as people make change, or even words of wisdom for people as they try to navigate this pandemic and try to find a way forward, what you use to motivate yourself and keep yourself kind of on track with giving to the community, even though it might have gotten a little bit difficult.
Right. Just don't give up. You can't give up. You have to keep trying. You have to keep pushing. I'm not saying that you pushing so hard that you're driving yourself crazy, but don't give up. Continue to push yourself through. I mean, even with your businesses, don't give up. There's always other ways to work around things. If you're on the vegan, journey, don't beat yourself up. Take it one day at a time. Do the meatless Mondays, um, stuff like that, or just cutting meat out to diet, 2 days a week. But just do it just one thing a week, and see how it goes.
Perfect. And I loved one thing I didn't comment on is I love that you're kind of entry point was entering in a contest, especially when you said you're an introvert. I just wanted to loop back to that because I thought it was such a smart move as a way to kind of jump in and like just, I guess maybe I'm pulling my personality through, but it's like, and then grabbing the reward and being like, I did it. You know what I mean? Not only did I make it, I showed up and I won. I think that's such an important thing to just not only acknowledge that you did, but also I hope that's inspiration for others to realize that it's such a great time for us to step up, and do these types of things that are out in the open.
Right. And I know we got to wrap it up, but that following year, that 2017, I won the SmackDown. 2018, I entered the vegan barbecue battle and won that too.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, I can't wait until the next competition comes around. You have to let me know so we can cheer you on and also tell everyone about your next win because I know it's coming.
Of course. This has been such a pleasure. And I hope all my Team Introvert family are looking and maybe they can get out the corner and do a little live or whatever. But I'm telling you, Stephanie, after I get off with you, I'm gonna probably take me like a 15-minute nap. If that's, I think I'll be able to still get to work on time. And I'm just gonna go back into my shell.
Well, thank you for coming out for me, our audience. You are wonderful. I mean, goodness, you are great to talk to and interview, and you have such an amazing story. So thank you for doing this for me. I really appreciate it. I'm sure my audience so appreciates it as well. And then also let's stay in touch because I'd love to hear about the work you're doing and everything that's going on. And also I want to get a couple of those recipes. So it was wonderful to spend time with you today. And thank you everyone who joined us live. Thank you for watching this as a replay. We love when you post comments. We love it when you like these posts because this is such a great way for us to know that you enjoy us doing these interviews and bringing these amazing guests like Gloria to you so you can hear how many of us are driving change in our community. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Gloria, again. And we'll see everyone in our next interview. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.